Hello and welcome to Sunday's video where we're going to be talking about the prices of the tokens from the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. Again, I'm not going to be looking at every single one of them. I'm going to be doing the ones I typically do, which are RMRK, Moonriver, Calamari, and then DOT and KSM. So that's what we're going to be looking at. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about this tweet here. It's actually a Twitter thread which has been shared to me here by the community members. So basically this person here, Patrick Hansen, has tweeted, if you don't know who he is, I didn't know who he is either, but if you look at his profile here, it says he's a crypto DeFi policy Europe strategy and growth at Unstoppable DeFi. So he's got just over almost 5,000 followers, as you can see here, but he's basically tweeted this, right? He said that there's bad news for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in the EU. So there's a proof of work ban that has basically made its way back into the draft of the European Parliament that will be voted in the committee on Monday. So that's possibly why the market is doing so bad today, because of this FUD. Okay, this was actually posted yesterday. So that could be the reason as to why the market has crashed since yesterday. And we're getting that typical bloody Sunday that we normally get. It's very rare nowadays to get a good Sunday, a green one. It really gives me those bear market vibes. But anyway, to continue on here, so 4 days ago, the rapporteur, Dr. Stefan Berger, tweeted that his new compromise dropped any ban addressing of proof of work. Now, just before the vote, a last-minute draft brings back the ban. This is totally unexpected, and I was too quick to dismiss that yesterday night. And then he's saying the wording of the proof of work ban has changed, but the effect is essentially the same. Crypto assets that are deemed unsustainable will be prohibited from being issued, offered, or admitted to trading. Okay, and if we look at this, it says it here, right? So crypto assets shall be subject to minimum environmental sustainability standards with respect to their consensus mechanism used for validating transactions before being issued, offered, or admitted to trading in the union. So yeah, I mean, is this going to affect only Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies too, or is this going to affect only proof of work assets, which of course would include Bitcoin and Ethereum? That's the big question here. Okay, so now looking at this, is saying existing cryptocurrencies shall set up and maintain a phased rollout plan to ensure compliance with such requirements. Since there's no way Bitcoin can and will implement a rollout plan out of the proof of work, it will affect Bitcoin as well, of course. Now with Ethereum, it will affect Ethereum, but there is a rollout plan for the proof of stake, a consensus mechanism switchover, right? Apparently at the beginning it's going to be a bit of both, and then it's eventually going to switch over to proof of stake completely with Ethereum 2.0, which is still taking some time. But Polkadot shouldn't be affected by this because Polkadot is proof of stake. So there should be nothing affecting Polkadot. There is only one project developing on the Polkadot ecosystem, which is proof of work. And that's called Kulupu, which I've spoken about ages ago. I don't support that project anymore. I used to hold a little bit of Kulupu, but that's the only one that's proof of work. And apparently the lead dev is actually really good, but he's the only person that's pretty much holding that project alive, and the community is slowly going away. Now, so as mentioned before, I totally agree with Pearson and Power Hashor that the implementation of this article would kill the competitiveness of EU crypto businesses and drive plenty of capital, talent, and companies out of the EU. Once again, I'm thinking they may be moving to Asia if this keeps up, right? Because a lot of companies in Asia are now being crypto friendly. So what will happen next? Well, unfortunately, since the draft was changed last minute, I expect the EP committee to vote in favor on Monday. However, I still hope the article to be dropped in the upcoming trilogue negotiations, and I do wonder if this is a way to manipulate the market once again, because we've seen these kind of negative articles being posted when the market is not doing too well, just to crush the market further so that the whales can get in cheap, and then they can of course talk about all the bullish stuff and how they're going to adopt crypto and how crypto is the best and all the good things about crypto. I mean, why do you never see these negative articles when crypto is doing so well, when the markets are so green? I mean, you never see anything negative, right? You always see the positive stuff back then. So just think about that, right, for a moment. Let that sink in there for a moment and just think about it, right? Why is it that it only happens on the red days, right? I'm sure there has to be some kind of manipulation here. Now, to continue on here, so what else? Number 8. So, but this is uncertain and you never know what comes out of the negotiations, especially given the fast change in macro environment. No one expected it to pass in the EU Parliament either. The risk of this insane proposition going through is higher than ever. And then an important addition, there are two alternative articles to the Article 2A proof of work. They will both be voted on. The second one doesn't plan a ban. Only one of the two will make it through. There seems to be a very thin majority against the ban right now, but to be discussed. Okay, so there seems to be a thin majority against the ban. Right. So basically, there are not enough people who are against the ban, and that is a risk, right? So it looks like we may be getting a ban then. That could be the possibility here. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly cover this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this. But next, let's talk about the prices here. We're on KuCoin because this is where we can see calamari and remark. Otherwise, I would be looking at Binance to get the prices here for the assets. So remark's currently trading at $13.18 after a humongous plunge to $12.50, as you can see here if we zoom in. Okay, $12.50 was the low of the day here. It's been horrible all of this weekend, right? We did have that pop to $15.30 here. This was on the 9th of March, and then since then we've been in the downtrend with a little bit of a pop here to just over 14 bucks on the 11th, only to follow through here again. So we could be seeing another pop now because we did have this massive dump here. So we could be seeing another pop maybe to around $13.50 before we pull back down once again, because remember, the previous resistance or the previous support becomes resistance. Okay, so this was the previous support. Okay, all this around here, now it's going to be resistance. We are going to struggle to break it, but when we do break it, then that's good news, right? We actually need to break, for me to be even bullish on remark right now, we need to break two areas of resistance, and that's this area here around 1340, and then we need to break this area here around 1430. Okay, if we manage to break out of this loop here, which has been pretty nasty, we need to actually go to about $16. If we break above $16 here with massive buy orders, then I would be bullish on remark once again, and we could see higher prices, but it's going to be very hard because look at this. I mean, even at $16, we're going to be struggling here, right? We've got a lot of resistance. We got a lot of resistance here. Not that much here. I would say this one is easier to break, but this one is pretty tough to break because this is over a number of days here, which has accumulated. And aside from that, there's also a little bit of resistance here as well. So, and yeah, there are different areas of resistance at various levels. Of course, we've got the 1650 one later on after. So it's going to be a struggle for remark to make it out of this. We really need something major here, some major catalyst to break us out of this. Not even with Bitcoin pumping to 42K, it's not enough for us to break out of this. I've seen it time and time again now. Bitcoin pumps to 42K and remark is just not able to make it past this area here and break past this solid resistance here which it has formed. So even though people are supporting remark, of course the project is great, but because of this situation with the market, it's just not able to do it now, and it is difficult to get bullish again, and we'll have to see how things are going to change in the market. If Bitcoin gets back to 50K, then perhaps remark can break out of these areas of resistance around $16 and move into bull mode once again. But for now, there's nothing that can make this change, right? We don't even have the metaverse yet, right? Think about that, right? Right now, it's still a concept. It's still being developed. So until they launch metaverse, then we're not going to see remark do any wonders, right? We have to be realistic about this. In a bearish market, nothing moves without real utility, right? You need to have the real utility. What is the real utility for remark right now? Nothing, right? The real utility for remark will come when the metaverse launches. Remark is going to be the currency of the metaverse. I want to make this clear. There's no reason to be bullish right now on remark with this market condition with no utility. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand this and to see why it's been dumping so much. Aside from the market conditions, this is the reason why it's been dumping so much, okay? Right now, we don't have utility. Next step, let's talk about DOT here. So even DOT, right? DOT has utility because you're using it for the parachain auctions, but even so, it's struggling, right? And look at this. It has formed a lot of resistance now, a lot of this around this area of $22 over here as well. So this is going to be a struggle to break. And then if we zoom out even further here, if we look at around the $24 range, we've got resistance all over the place here. Here, look at all these different areas of resistance. Okay, so it's going to be very hard for DOT to break past all these different areas of resistance and move back into bull mode of over $23. But even if we see it at $20, to be honest, I'll be happy at this stage because it's just been nasty, right? We did get these pops to the upside when Bitcoin pumped there. We had this pop to 1950 here, but then we dumped right back down to 1630. So now it is struggling around 17. It's accumulating. around 1780. Now it is making its way back down now, unless it can somehow bounce off this area of support here. This used to be resistance. Now it broke out of this, of course, when it pumped here, and now it's acting as support. So we have to see if it can hold this, but it's definitely not looking good here for DOT either, even with the parachain auctions, even if we have utility. Okay, next up, let's talk about Kusama. Kusama's at $123. Once again, it's holding quite okay in this area of support here. We've got support here, support here, support here. So it's making this hold well. Even here in this area, we've got some support formed there. So now it's holding that well. But the question is, will it hold for much longer? As you can see, we are in an area of accumulation thanks to that support now. So we have to see if this can make it once again into bull mode, and if it does, look at 150. Right at 150 is when we're going to encounter a lot of resistance here, and resistance here. So it's likely not going to be able to break 150 on the first attempt. It's likely going to take multiple attempts for it to break 150. I'm not even going to look higher up, because as you can see, it's a long way up. We first need to see it break 150. When we do, then that's great news. Now on the bearish side, could it dump lower? Of course. If it drops below this area of support here, then there's a bigger gap here. I think we could expect something like $100 easily, $100 easily here when it would hit this next area of support around here. So yeah, there is definitely high risk of that as well with Kusama, especially as there aren't any big crowd loans right now. There's no real motivation for people to be buying Kusama right now, because there's no crowd loan that could say to you, okay, that's definitely going to bring up some good gains, right? So people are just waiting to get their Kusama back. And I am concerned, because if the market does not recover on the 13th of May, when the unlock of those over 1 million KSM happens, we could expect some dumping. Not everyone's going to be staking. I'm personally going to be staking. A lot of people, I think, are also going to be dumping because they simply lost hope in Kusama and Polkadot. This is how it is in the bear market. In a bear market, everyone loses hope. Everyone gets wiped out. They sell at a loss, and then new blood comes in the next bull market when prices are at an ultimate low, so they're all buying cheap then. And those people who have likely sold at a loss are feeling hurt and just don't want to get back in. Some of them may get back in, but yeah, a lot of people tend to leave the market during times like these, right? So that's how it is. Next up, Karura. Karura is 127 now, which is amazing because it's holding quite okay. Akala is just around $1, so Karura is still above Akala right now. But considering the supply difference, Karura being at 100 million, Akala being at 1 billion, well, it's not really great, right? Seeing Karura at this price. Now, I have been speaking with a team member from Karura and Akala, and they told me that they've got some things coming up for Karura, which is going to place it into the spotlight once again, not only with Akala. So that's good, good news, and I'm looking forward to that. But for now, yeah, we are holding quite okay here. We're in the accumulation zone, just like with Kusama. As you can see with Karura, it just doesn't look like it wants to go any lower than this. I think the sellers are done here. We have dumped quite a lot here. If you look at this on this 1 hour chart, I mean, look at this when we are at the peak here of over 13 bucks. Those are the good times, right? I did sell some Karura around the $11.50 here. I did not buy back, but yeah, I did sell some around here. I didn't manage to get the peak, and unfortunately I only sold what I had unlocked. I wasn't able to sell that much, but to be honest, to me this was like a chance here to tell me, okay, this is when you need to get out if you want to buy back in lower, okay? Because when you see this kind of massive catapults here, there's a very, very good probability, or high probability I should say, that the market is going to pull back eventually. Not necessarily straight away. It could have gone higher and then pulled back, but it will definitely pull back. So if anything, if I've learned anything during the last bear market, is that when you see these kind of massive catapults, there's always going to be a pullback, and it looks like it happened here, okay? So yeah, we are still on the downside here, like I said, accumulating now, but the question is, will we hold for much longer? Because if we look at this area here, we could see we looked like we were accumulating here and trying to move back up, but then we got tricked, and because the dumping came here. So we have to see if this can hold, or if we're going to drop below $1 here. Now, Moonriver is a huge disappointment right now. There are some issues with the block production as well, so that's also playing a part in the dump. And don't forget the crowd loan as well, right? I've contributed to their crowd loan. I'm still getting unlocks. I'm compounding those unlocks because I am staking my Moonriver now. I have sold a large bag of Moonriver back when it was more expensive than Kusama in order to get Kusama, and in order to use that Kusama to contribute to more crowd loans. One of them being Bitcoin Pioneer, which I don't regret too much because I do think they're going to do well. I slightly regret it because I got caught in that dump in the market once again, but it is what it is, right? You can't nail them all. We didn't look like we were going to dump that much, to be honest. I thought that the bear market is not going to be this brutal for the altcoins, but it seems like it is. It seems like even with so much new blood in the market, we are still seeing massive dumps. Probably not as bad as the 2018 dump, but still quite nasty if you think about it, because a lot of these tokens have gone down 90% from their all-time high, including moonriver. Think about it, moonriver was almost 500 bucks, even over 500 bucks at some point on some exchanges, and look at this now, right? It's gone over 90% down now, so that must be hurting a lot of people that have bought in those high prices here. So will we see moonriver at $200 again? It may take a long time. I just don't think we're going to see moonriver at 500 again, to be honest. It's a very, very long shot. It's very hard to see that. I know that NEO back in the day had reached an all-time high in 2017 and it never managed to get back to that all-time high again. So it's very hard to see a project that's pumped so much and then come down over 90% to go back up once again to those all-time highs is very, very hard. We have to be realistic here. I'm not trying to FUD. I hold moonriver, right? But I'm just trying to be realistic that it's just not going to happen, in my opinion, okay? There's way too much support that has formed around these areas, which has not turned into resistance, and that's going to be super hard to break. If anything, I would say maybe we're going to be able to break this $70 range and we're going to move on to the next range there, but possibly around 115 to 120. I'm just not seeing how we're going to be able to break those areas higher up here, such as this one here around 180. I mean, look at this. This has been forming for many, many days, right? Weeks to be exact, right? Weeks. So the question is, are we going to be able to break this? I very much doubt so, right? I very much doubt so. Even with new use cases, with a new bull market, I just don't see how we're going to break past 180 for moonriver, considering so much more MOVR is going to go into circulation. It's going to be hard, and people that have been accumulating at these prices are going to be eager to sell if they see it at 180. You got to remember that too, right? People that are buying in low now are going to be up 2x, 3x. They are going to be dumping their heavy bags on you, right? Even if you're still waiting for the all-time high to come back again, right? We have to be realistic here, but I am patiently waiting. Like I said, I do believe in the project in the long run. They have just gotten an extension to their lease, so we're going to see them for another 11 months, which is great. We have to give them time and see how things go. In the worst case scenario, for me personally, I think that on the next Bitcoin halving, maybe 6 months to 7 months after next Bitcoin halving in 2024, we're going to see a new bull market. So even if things drop a lot, as long as they won't be World War III, right? Because then everything will be changing in that case, then we should be fine. We should be in a good position once again in about 2 years more. But yeah, unfortunately it sucks because we do need to wait, but it is what it is, right? At the end of the day, if you're holding for 2 years and if you believe in a project really well, a lot, sorry, then it could come back, right? Not necessarily to the all-time high, but at least even halfway through, which is still going to be great. Now looking at calamari here, this has been a mess. As you can see here, we've dumped like crazy. I did think it's going to be quite stable around the 1/7 of a cent and an 1/8 of a cent, because we had these spikes here, as you can see, between a 1/7 of a cent and 1/8 of a cent. It turned into a stable coin for a while, but now it wants to drop once again, although we haven't actually broken below this area here where we dropped the last time when we had that massive week down here. So we could be holding quite okay now for calamari, unless there just aren't any more sellers, right? I think everyone just sold. Everyone who wanted to get out is out now. With a 1/2 of a cent here, it's amazingly low if you think about it. Now I did sell the unlock on the first day personally. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get close to the top. I got in at a good enough price, I would like to say, right, just over 6.5 cents. I could have gotten out at 9 cents. I actually made a mistake with moving some funds from the trade wallet over to the, or from the main wallet over to the trading wallet, and because of that small delay, I got caught out in the dump there. But I'm still happy I managed to get out with that certain percentage that I had, because look at this. I mean, we had this massive dump then, and it's just been on a continuous downtrend. So yeah, we need to wait for them to deliver. Of course, once they deliver MeriSwap and MeriPay, then calamari should be picking up again, hopefully to the 1 cent range. We are going to encounter some resistance this time, though, at a 1/7 of a cent. Think about that. Look at this. This has been accumulating here. This is going to be bad news now, because we should have moved into bull mode here in order to stay away from the high risk that this area has generated for us now, I should say. So yeah, this is pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about in today's video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? How do you feel about this? Are you still looking at the prices, or are you let down? Are you stepping away from the crypto markets for the next while? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.